All right, we are now joined by Auburn head coach Butch Thompson, regional MVP catcher Chase Freilich, and pitcher Jackson Sanders. So with that, coach, an opening statement, please.
Yeah, I think that's our fifth one since we've been here. And one, this stuff is really hard. I know when we're in competition and you're in front of on the field and stuff, these guys, and the coaches go through a lot, take a lot because everybody's there to see it. But I think the other four, we went 3-0 in the regionals, and this was the hardest, probably most rewarding thing that we've been through for me personally. To see what these guys had to go through with the weather and the doubleheaders and getting punched in the mouth to get started. And I don't know the percentages on losing the first one and coming back, but I don't imagine it's too great, too sporty. But they found a way, and somebody said, "Oh man, you just handled, setting up your pitching and stuff like that. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard." These boys absolutely, we said that, and they stayed out there ever how long they needed to stay. And that really, really started with Petro yesterday. And you got, what's our boy, who come in? Hetzler. Hetzler come in through the last 3 innings and then waited an hour and come out and threw 4 innings and made it possible. And then, a couple of guys bounced back. Cormier bounced back and absolutely finished that ball game for us. And then Marciano handed the ball over to what's been our most trustworthy, probably MVP on our pitching staff. So many games, when there's a game and a chance to win it, Jackson's not only taking the ball but got to the finish line as well. So, and then Chase caught every pitch, every inning of this thing, and he was just amazing, both offensively and defensively. And got to give him and I just give the players a ton of credit because either way I was prepared to talk to them and communicate with them because I thought they laid it on the line for us and was tremendous. Our crowd's never connected with us that way. We've been building attendance here. The last 4 or 5 years we've continued to raise the mark of having more people in the ballpark, and that this tournament was different. There was a connection. Like I haven't seen before. And I think the players know that. I think the players, they run up through there and got to see everybody, and that was the best connection that I've seen here. So that was special. The people that's worked so much, our field crew, had a long, tough week. They were amazing. Our administration just keeps thinking of ways what can we do to texture and help this to grow. But our amazing coaches and players are just tremendous. And then I thought that Milwaukee was one of the most inspiring teams I've seen in a while, and they were a handful. And they play the game the right way. They absolutely we're tucked in a 2-2 game, and that thing could have went either way, and whoever's going to have that big inning or that moment or that breakthrough. Luckily enough, it was Auburn tonight, but I got to talk to their coaches and see a lot of their players on the walk over here, and I haven't respected an opponent that much in a long time. So I give Milwaukee props for doing something for the first time in their program's history.
We'll take questions for the student athletes first.
Chase, this for you, just the grind of this one to battle back. What did you see out of these guys, for the course of 3 days and 4 games that allowed you guys to do what you did?
I mean, the whole team was locked in. Nothing went as planned. I think today was the only game that we got through playing the whole 9 innings without a delay. Team did a great job staying locked in the whole time, and everybody performed the way that they needed to.
Chase, what was the difference between Jake Marciano going back to Friday and then what he was able to do tonight?
He had the same mindset going in both times. They jumped him the first time. The second time he got a little more comfortable in there and executed some more pitches and just had a better overall outing.
For Jackson, were there any major adjustments you guys made after the first 2 games as staff, or was it more just a matter of, I guess, blocking in a little bit those last 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, we stuck to our same mindset and goal. It was kind of like a fluke. We took it as. We really didn't think too much of it. Just knew we had to execute pitches better and get to the floor of stuff and, not get it behind in counts and get the 2 strikes as fast as possible. And that's what we did the last few games.
Jackson, just to kind of add to that, you guys were able to do it by piecing it together, a couple of guys at a time for 4 games in a row. What was, for you guys, the mindset of coming back? Because I know you'd been practicing it, but you hadn't had a chance to do it yet. You finally had a chance to get back out there on the same weekend, and you executed it.
Yeah, from the moment I threw that last pitch against NC State, and I think everybody else's mindset, like LJ, it was just how fast can we get back to feeling almost 100%, through recovery and meals and hydration and stuff. It's just, thinking for the next step and, how soon can we get back out there.
Chase 2-2 in the 6th when you hit the tie-breaking home run. Could you talk about what you got and what you were looking for and what that moment was like?
I was just looking for a fastball out over the plate. He's been throwing a lot of them to left-handed hitters, and I got one that I could handle and put a good swing on it.
And Jackson, you're thinking the whole game, I'm going to take it to the finish line, or could you talk about your mindset there and as the game went on?
Yeah, obviously the finish line's the goal in mind. I kind of take it inning by inning, almost like I'm closing each inning, and try to get out there and, shut it down one hitter at a time, lead off hitter out every inning, and, get ahead of people.
Jackson, what can you say about Chase? 6 home runs, 15 RBIs, school records in the regional, just the job he did offensively.
Yeah, everybody's going to talk about the offense, but defensively I think he was, just as big. He's getting under pitches, calling pitches where, we don't even have to shake. We're coming up there free of mind. He's going over with hitters after he gets in the bat in the dugout with teeth. So when we get out there on the mound, we're not, fumbling around like who's this guy, who's this, like what's his tendencies. Yeah, I think the defensive part's the biggest, telltale. That's a bigger, MVP than I think the hitting.
Last one for the student athletes.
Yeah. Chase, they had a stat that you're the first guy in a decade to have 2 5-game home run streaks. How crazy is that to think about?
That's pretty crazy. When I'm trying not to hit homers and trying to stay with my approach is when it happens. So I'm going to keep with the same approach and keep going, and hopefully it rolls into next week.
You need to take your own advice.
All right, we'll let the student athletes go. You guys are good. Thank you.
Good job, man.
And we will open it up for questions for Coach Thompson.
But you talked about Chase and what he means to this team, but to see him do that offensively along with everything he's done and have to catch all these games, that was a warrior effort for a weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's as good as I've ever seen. And I think also today he was one of the 5 finalists for the Buster Posey Award. And I know we have some amazing catchers in the country this year. A lot of draft-eligible guys seem like they're a year ahead of him. But that's about as big of a showing as you can. And for him to do that a lot last year as a freshman, learn how to call their own game. And I don't remember a ball getting past him this whole regional. Just being able to handle the moment. It is a combination of the pitcher and catchers of running game and stuff, but we've done a really good job to this point after a bunch of games, and Chase has got a lot to do with that. Just a complete player. I think what Jackson was talking about between innings, and he's got all this going on, it's not just the physical stuff you see. It is absolutely those intangibles of being able to process and think and be able to run something. And I think we all know sitting here that there was a dramatic shift in what we did these last 2 games against Milwaukee than what we did the first game. And for college athletes to be able to do that, I give a ton of credit to Tiford and Fox, but there was a prudent risk and a real adjustment, and they don't always work. But it did in this instance, and I give all those guys a lot of credit, and really Chase understanding the changes that we needed to make and had to make and being able to run it. And the offense is just amazing because a lot of people, catchers can create a career by really not hitting. That's why I think Chase Freilich will play the game for a very long time because it's pretty buttoned up. I think the only challenge he's got is he runs about the same speed I do. But other than that, he's pretty amazing.
Bub's double in the sixth. How big of a moment was that? Kind of
It was
the
big
slump
for
that he.
it was big for Bub. It was it had like a piano on his back. We've been trying to talk him out. Even the crowd, right? They're getting behind him. He was a regional MVP, I think, last year as a freshman in this Auburn regional, and that really that busted the game open. That got something that really gave us length. We got the solo home run, but then that was a big swing, and we tacked on a couple more. That was the big part of that 5-run deal, and he's already got a big smile, but he had a pretty big smile after that the rest of the way, and that's what young players are learning is you have to finish things. You can't be sad in the middle of the deal, and I was grabbing him and Brandon McCrane a little bit, and I got a couple more I got to grab tonight, but at the same time, these are lessons. They have this for life. Ever how they operated through that. Bub's got a regional MVP, and he's got one where he's fighting it, and then you get to the last game, and he gets one of the biggest swings off that bounces over the first baseman's head and makes a difference. So I just, the longer you get to play a season, the longer a guy gets to play at this level, the stronger the individual gets and the stronger the team gets. I think and hope we needed a weekend like that. We've been fighting for a long time, but we needed to do something like that to come out as a stronger team. And I don't know what the turnaround will be. We'll be hosting our second super regional in history here, back-to-back years. But that's going to pay dividends for what they had to go through this week at some point.
Butch, going back to last night, just the job Ryan Hetzler did, and have you been a part of a situation like that where players come back and pitch twice in a doubleheader, and sort of how did that moment come about as far as that decision to bring him back?
This is finishing that first game, and then we already know that there's a line where every pitching staff drops off, even if you feel like you can pitch. But felt like that was going to be a tough turnaround, 3 innings, and come back today. And I think I was thinking about it during that 9th inning. And as soon as the game was over, I was like, let's throw him. It's only going to be an hour or whatever on the turnaround, and we'll just go ahead and finish him. And I'll squeeze him for everything he's got. And he got us through 4 innings. And I've never had this happen to me, but after every hitter at the end of the 3rd and the 4th inning, he'd give me a thumbs up after every hitter, just a little sign between me and him. And that's something I got forever. And I thought he bridged the plan. That was like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? I need a starter. And then that allowed everything to finish last night and really to reboot tonight. And Cormier not having to get Jackson in a ball game last night. I'm still mad Jackson had to come in game 1. But nonetheless, Hetzler, I think, was the pivot man because everybody did an amazing job. But he was the pivot to make all this fall into place. So a ton of credit. We needed a break or two. This was going to be really hard if I'm talking about any team to lose that first game and come back. But we had to have some things work, and we had to have some guys do some extraordinary things. Fralick, the pitching the last 2 days, et cetera. All that stuff had to fall in place to even make this possible.
But you guys have been searching at DH, and second week in a row, Taylor Bells comes up with a couple of swings and has done some good things for you. How important has that been to find somebody at the bottom of the lineup to give you a little bit more depth and length?
Yeah, it's been huge. I was glad to see him get off a big swing. I think he contributed in that 5-run inning tonight. Got another single up the middle there. I just again, it's a freshman. It's pretty amazing. To see him do that, but I think you can see when he gets a swing off and see how hard it comes off that he belongs at this level, and he's just having a tough time, breaking in when we had Fralick and Steele there that's done the bulk of the catching this year. So, but he's an amazing player, and I know he's been working hard all year and finally cycled for an opportunity for him to plug in. And I think the other big move this weekend was Cade Ballou, who we haven't talked about yet, that just absolutely showed out where he hit 3 home runs, and he made a catch last night that was probably, I know it saved at least 1 run. against the wall and played great as well.
Any final questions for Coach? Two more?
Butch is way off topic, but it is kind of a sign of the times. But I know the portal opened, last night. I mean, how much time did you and your staff had to put to that, maybe took away from preparations or anything? It's just kind of how it is now in college baseball.
8 to 11 this morning, if I answer the question honestly. It opened, and everybody that's not playing now, so I guess there's how many teams are left now. Everybody else is working today, and this is that climate where it opens on June 1, and I hear all the football stuff and all the other sports as well, but I wouldn't have brought it up unless you asked the question, but we gave it 3 hours, and then I asked the guys not to talk about it anymore today, and they're grown men, but they have to, and we had to, and we'll have to get back on it tomorrow as well and try to let the guys recover, but do a lot. And I mean, there'll be players in town, there'll be people visiting, and et cetera. So we have to be able to keep functioning in this day and time where you can't juggle one ball. You have to get 3 or 4 balls in the air, and you have to juggle them well. That's what programs and coaches are asked to do this day and time. Yeah.
Last one right here.
Butch, both LJ and Marciano struggled game 1. They both go against Milwaukee again, and both are able to provide you quality innings. What does it kind of say about them that they are able to bounce back after kind of getting shelled?
Yeah, they're special winners. And we really saw the outings the second time for all these guys, really what they look like for most of the year. So, again, I can just say how young our team is, and maybe a little spook. I don't know what happened game 1. We didn't walk them. We didn't make errors. They knocked the hell out of the ball. And if you're going to beat us this year, that's how it's kind of happened. We've had a few of those. We got beaten against Nebraska in game 1 of a series here, and we struck them out 18 times and didn't walk them one time, but every ball they put in play. Milwaukee game 1 against us, their batting average was .583, which was the highest of the season. That's every ball they put in play. The first 8 guys that put the ball in play reached, and that was kind of the story in this tournament. They jumped out on us, and then NC State, I think we got up 10-0. You look at a lot of the games here, and this thing turned offensive. It was May. Plainsman Park is playing smaller than any other time of the year, and we had some real adjusting to do. I will put out one asterisk out there is I'm getting really disappointed, which nobody cares, so I probably shouldn't say anything. But the regional format is really concerning me if we're talking about what's best for student athletes, because as I'm watching the TV and we're not playing, I got guys that are throwing 100+ pitches and full starts and coming back and having to pitch because of the format. I don't know what the answer is, but I hope people are looking at, and we absolutely put Hetzler in 100-something pitches and pitched him in 2 games to try to win, and you get yourself there. And we go 14 weeks building a team with the best 2 out of 3, and it's much more manageable than working for 9 months and then people asking these kids to have some out-of-body experience and do something that they haven't done all year. There has to be some type of talk, convening on what we're doing with this regional format because of what we've seen through the years, and was absolutely on display for the last 4 days around the country.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.